Hello ladies and gentlemen, you are watching DeepSeededGeek, and this is KATAWA SHOUJO. Now, I need to point out that I wasn't planning on playing this game this week, much less talk about it. I've been playing games like XCOM and Mark the Ninja and these hardcore titles, and I just wanted to find a game that was a little more casual, possibly an indie game that's a little more recognizable, to kind of play through this week for you guys. But it just so happened that this month, or this week, was a show called Metadating, where Day9 and a few of his friends, they go on there and they play through games where they're related to the idea of love and relationships within video games. And I got hooked watching that, and then after that episode ended, I wanted to continue from where they left off, and so I spent all of yesterday getting hooked playing through a couple of characters through this game. Calling this a game is a very loose term. This is a Japanese visual novel. Essentially what that means is it's a slideshow with anime characters on top of it, and it's pretty much just stock photos in the background. And the anime is in line with a lot of like cartoons like back in the 80s and everything, where it's just like one shot, just different poses, and that's about it. They want to keep it very low budget. But that should not take away from how amazing this game really is. There's not much decision making to be known of. There's a couple of choices that you'll have throughout each of the acts that kind of lead you down one path or another, and so it's just, you know, it's pretty much you just kicking back and reading through the dialogue as you go along. There's not a lot of interaction. It's literally just a novel with pictures. If you can, this is your visual choose your own adventure novel. So your character is a boy named Hiseo. Essentially, at the very beginning of the game, you're in a scene where a girl tells him that she likes him, and he is so excited and he's so confused at the same time that he has a heart attack, and he goes off to a hospital and has surgery done and everything like that, and his condition has changed so much that he needs to be transferred to a specific school where they cater to kids with disabilities. Now, right off the hop, this could be a very touchy subject, but they really play all the characters with such dignity and such grace. It's very well done. Within the first 4 acts, you meet a variety of characters throughout the school, and essentially you take the time in the prologue, so to speak, to figure out which of these girls that you meet that you're drawn into the most and you want to proceed to build a relationship with. So they give so many well-developed characters, it's just insane. So the first 2 that you meet are a couple of girls named Misha and Shizune. Shizune is a deaf girl, and she's kind of like the dictator of like the student council, and she's very hard like to get along with and hard to actually like. And Misha is her interpreter, and she's kind of a pink-haired bubbly girl who's kind of like a Glee Club infused rich girl, you know. So they're not one's over the top trying to be too likable, and the other one is just stern and so you're kind of put off by them right at the start. Another girl that you run into is named Rin. She is a girl who's lost both her arms, and at the same time, so all she can do is kind of go throughout her day, like if she needs to interact with something, she uses her feet. So add on top of that, she's an artist, which is very cool, but her personality is a little off. She's kind of like that one kid in high school who was like constantly stoned but didn't do any drugs, just that really off kind of character. So if you're into that, that's probably your choice, but it wasn't up for me. Next up, we have a girl named Lily, who is, of course, the most stunning girl in the high school, who, ironically, is blind. She's got a heart of gold, and instantly you kind of like this girl. For some reason, Misha and Shizune, they have it out for this girl, Lily, for some reason or another, but it's not really explained down the pathways that I took. Now, the 2 characters whose path I played through, first one was Emmy, who's kind of a spunky little girl who's a track star who has lost both her legs. So she kind of walks and runs on these kind of, I don't know what you would call them. They're not exactly prosthetic legs, but they're kind of, I guess there's something like that special athletes, Special Olympic athletes kind of use. It's kind of like a hook kind of thing. I don't know how to, well, you see the pictures there, you can check it out. But yeah, she is over the top, bubbly, and you just instantly like this girl. And she kind of embodies, much like Rin, that attitude of, you know, nothing can hold you back from what you want to do the most. And then the next character, the character that I absolutely love, is Hanako, who is a girl who's very, very shut in because she's a burn victim from a young age. And so it's kind of made her close herself off from the rest of the world. And throughout your kind of relationship with her, you're slowly going to bring her out of her shell. So those are the 5 girls that you kind of choose from. Now, there are also a bunch of minor characters. There's a teacher who, you know, in my book, kind of just, he shows up, he does a few teacher dialogue, and then he goes away. There's nothing much to him. There's also a nurse who's this purple-haired dude who is kind of off for some reason. I mean, he's very much like the nurse kind of character, and they kind of get the medical facts straight and everything. But he always makes like these kind of weird remarks that he regrets like instantly. So he'll have like this weird funky smile and he's like, hey, 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 I could get you any kind of drugs you want, hey, hey, hey. And then he'll go all serious and go, but seriously, kids, don't do drugs. You know, so he's weird that way. He's just, you don't know if he's like a secret pedophile or if he's just trying to be the cool guy in the adults or something like that. But it's just off for some reason. And then, last but not least, there's your roommate, or I guess your neighbor in the boys' dormitory, named Kenji, who is a woman-hating, paranoid conspiracy theorist, who is also a blind version of Harry Potter if you look at him. And if you're not convinced, just how strange this kid is, just from my brief description there, check this out. So yeah, you get to see this guy in all his glory sometimes throughout this game, which is just okay, whatever, moving right along. Now I need to point out something about this game. This video game, much like there are people who are embarrassed to admit they're Twilight fans, or for all those guys who are My Little Pony fans, the bronies out there, you can Google that one. This game is a guy gamer's version of tapping into their softer side, okay? I don't know a single person, you can read comments on Google and YouTube all over the place where people, mostly guys, are just, they weep when they think about this game. It hits them so hard, and there's definite reason for it. A lot of the characters, all the main characters that you pursue, they all reflect a different aspect of yourself, and how you're trying to heal yourself and become a better person in a way. Like, the 2 characters I played through, Emmy, she is the girl who portrays the characteristic of, you know, never letting anything hold you back. Don't look at anything as a hurdle that you can't get over. You know, she's lost her legs, she's a track star, and she kind of influences you to not kind of, you know, wallow on the pity side and bring you out of your hole that you're kind of into after your heart attack. And then there's also Hanako, who, while she's got physical scars and everything that she shies away from and keeps her away from the world, it encourages you to kind of deal with your own limitations and your wounded nature to kind of help each other come out into the light. So it's very pretty that way. And all the characters that you play through or that you interact with, they are so well scripted. Like, they don't really make them over the top or anything like that. Like much of a lot of Japanimation, they kind of do the over the top kind of characters in your face all the time, and just, it's a little too much for my taste sometimes. But this is really well grounded. You feel like they tapped into the heart and soul of all these characters and what they actually would be feeling and actually would be going through very well. My only complaint with the game is my own character, the guy I play, because a lot of the times you're sitting there and he'll just be in his head too much. And for myself, I'm not a guy who holds back what I'm thinking. I usually say what I'm thinking, or slowly get to my point sometimes, but I don't hold anything back. If it's in my head, I'm gonna say it. And for this guy just to be like ho-humming about, oh, should I say this? I don't know, what if she freaks out, blah, 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 and then he doesn't do anything, he doesn't act on anything. It's just, I bite my fingernails just like going, say something! You know, kiss the girl, tell her you like her, you know, something. But I guess that's the way they kind of drag out a novel for you, is like just tantalizing you and titillating you with like getting closer and closer to that moment. But sometimes he just makes idiotic decisions and just doesn't do things that are so bloody obvious. Like, she likes you, she's giving you hints, go for it, you know? You don't know what you're feeling about this girl, you spend every waking minute with her and you don't realize that you're in love with her, like just, But anyway, so that's my soap opera moment right there. But other than that, the only other frustration I have would be that this game, I wish to God more money was spent on the art team, because the characters themselves, they're so well done, like so well thought out, that the characters, what am I trying to say? The characters themselves, they're illustrated perfectly, but the animation for everything, I wish to God there was more of it. I wish there wasn't stock photos. I wish that was hand-drawn. I wish there was a bit full motion video kind of stuff with the animation instead of just still frames. I wish to God that, you know, with the mod community being what it is nowadays and all these games getting like the remakes and all that, I wish there would be a publisher out there that would take this game, fully voice it, because reading the dialogue, I think, would go a long way, adding a bit more personality. You know, I take that back, because one of the brilliant things about this game, just being a novelization that you just read along with the game, is that you have the voices for all the characters in your head, and that is so special, you know? Like reading a book and going to see the movie, a lot of the times, the characters or the voices or something will clash and it'll just set you off from what you read or how you read it. So I think that would be good for the game, just to leave it that. I thought it would be good with voice work, but I take it back. It's good like this. But I wish there was more to the visual aspect. I think they just cheapened it a little bit like that. So if there was a publisher out there that would go back, redo this video game, and put in a lot more animation, put in a lot more just art in general, I think would make this game so much better. Other than that, I really don't have too many criticisms. Just my own character, I was frustrated at times, and I just wish that it looked a lot better than it actually does. But that said, this is by far one of the best games I have played in a long time. I am all about storylines when it comes to playing video games, and this is right up at the top for me. Not only that, this is a free game. I'm gonna leave a link in the description box where you can go and download this game and try it for yourself. I highly recommend it. And with that, I want to say thank you for watching Deep-Seeded Geek. If you like this and you want to know more about this game, send me a message, hit me up in the comment sections, like this video so I know you want more of this content, share it with your friends and family, subscribe of course, because I put out videos every Monday and Friday, and we will see you next time on Deep-Seeded Geek.